It's time to talk about the Russia scandal that MSNBC won't tell you about. Look at this. Vladimir Putin retaliates against U.S., demands 755 U.S. diplomats must leave Russia. Whoa. Whoa. So this seems like there's a gigantic escalation going on between two nuclear-armed powers at the moment. Well, that sounds horrible, right? Actually, you have both parties in Washington pretty much agreeing across the board on this front. People say, oh, bipartisanship is dead, we need to bring back bipartisanship. No, we need to kill it. Because usually whenever the Democrats and Republicans in Washington agree, they're agreeing to screw you and make things much worse. And they did that on this front. So what they're referring to, you might be thinking, wait a second, it says Vladimir Putin retaliates against you. What do you mean retaliates? So he's not the one who did the offensive move here? No, it wasn't him. What happened was Democrats and Republicans agreed, hey, we need more sanctions. Whoa, 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 hold on a second. So the U.S. did sanctions under Obama against Russia for what happened in Crimea. Now those I actually agreed with, or at least in part agreed with, because we can't just have you going in there and jacking part of Ukraine. That's crazy. So Obama did sanctions over that. Then, after the election, with the alleged meddling in the election, what happened? Obama, right before he left office, announced another round of sanctions against Russia, this time for the so-called election meddling. So you did a round of sanctions over Crimea, which is one thing, and those I think are... there's more reasonable conversation to be had about those, and I actually agree with those. Then you did the ones on the election meddling. I do not agree with those because they never presented any of the evidence for it. Remember they said, oh, the 11 different intelligence agencies agree. Actually, no, there was an epic correction made months later. I think it was by the Washington Post. Said, oh yeah, did we say 11 anyway? We meant like 7 or 3 or something or whatever, and because we said like the Coast Guard agreed. What the fuck does the Coast Guard know about shit like that? And... by the way, what was the claim against them? Oh, they maybe released the DNC emails that showed the facts of what Hillary and the DNC were doing and all the cheating they were doing and questionable activities they were doing and how they tried to rig it against Bernie Sanders from the beginning. So those are facts we should know. So what, you're going to crack down because they gave us information that we should know in a democracy? That's stupid. But they did that. So you had 2 rounds of sanctions. We're all sanctioned out against Russia at the moment. And then what happened? The Democrats and the Republicans, no more! We're in the grips of hysteria right now, so the president is Vladimir Putin's puppet. So what are we going to do? Well, we're going to do even more sanctions. So they do more sanctions, and Trump's White House is like, yeah, sure, why not? So in other words, the narrative has been so strong from the beginning of Putin puppet, Putin puppet, Putin puppet, that even if Trump were to decide, I'm going to do the right thing here and veto this sanctions bill, people would go, ah, see? Putin's puppet. So in other words, if Trump were to do the right thing here and say, why are we doing even more sanctions? We're already sanctioned out, son. If Trump were to do that, they'd say, ah, see? Proof that he's Putin's puppet. Therefore, he's a sellout and he's a Kremlin agent and... you know, he did the wrong thing here. So now the duh position among the Democrats is, yeah, let's continue to escalate with another nuclear-armed power and do a gratuitous 3rd round of sanctions against them. See, this is the problem with the fucking hysteria, man. This is the problem. Alright, let me give you some of what they say here. The Kremlin's decision to expel American diplomats was long overdue retaliation to tough new sanctions passed by Washington, a top Russian official said Sunday, vowing more payback may follow if the U.S. does not change its approach. Speaking on ABC's This Week show, Russian Deputy Foreign Minister Sergei Ryabkov called a sanctions package aimed at penalizing Russia for meddling in the 2016 presidential election a completely weird and unacceptable piece of legislation that was the last drop. U.S. sanctions were also imposed in December of last year. Quote, if the U.S. side decides to move further towards further deterioration, we will answer, we will respond in kind, we will mirror this, we will retaliate, he continued. So in other words, look, we're doing tit for tat here. We already sanctioned them twice, and they didn't really respond in any serious way. Now with the fucking 3rd round of sanctions, they're going, alright, you know what? Yeah, okay, now get the fuck out of here, U.S. diplomats. Is this really the direction that we want to go in with another nuclear-armed power and continue to deteriorate our line of communication with them, continue to escalate, continue to move more in a hawkish direction, continue to prod them with a fucking stick? No, 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 no. And by the way, that sanctions package where we crack down on Russia for the third time, again, the first round of sanctions for Crimea, I'm with it. The second and third, totally unnecessary. But in the same deal were sanctions against North Korea, because of course, because by the way, yeah, I'm sure the sanctions against that regime will totally work. you have, you know, Kim Jong-un and his ilk and his insiders, they're totally immune from any of the effects of the sanctions, because they're a total and utter authoritarian police state. So the sanctions will not work because it'll just hurt the people of North Korea even more. So they think, like, look, sanctions, again, sometimes I think they make sense, sometimes they don't make sense. But in the case of North Korea, it's never going to work. Because they're never going to feel the effects of it, the regime itself. The people are the only ones who are going to feel the effects of it. So you have to try to find a different way to affect policy in North Korea. But they added North Korea in the bill, and you know who else they added sanctions in the bill against? Iran. So, in other words, let me break that down for you. That means the United States has just violated the Iran nuclear deal. Bet you didn't hear the media say that, did you? Bet you didn't hear corporate media say, whoa, didn't we just violate the deal that we made? Because anytime Iran fucking sneezes or farts, people go, oh, is that a violation of the Iran deal? The media will cover it nonstop. Oh, look at Iran, did they violate the deal? Oh, they may have violated the deal. Violate the deal. Did they violate the deal? And they talk about it all day long. They did a missile test. Oh, did Iran violate the deal? Oh. Meanwhile, we had fucking like one job. Hey, or maybe a little more than one, maybe 2 or 3 different things the U.S. had to do, where our side of the deal had to do what? Give Iran back their own money that we stole from them. So you do that, and you gradually remove sanctions and don't add new sanctions. So like one of 3 things we had to do under the Iran deal, we're like, yeah, fuck that. Anyway, new sanctions on Iran. So we violate the deal, and then guess what? They're going to respond in kind and do another thing that violates the deal. And then we're going to go, ah, fucking Iran violating the deal. But nobody's going to give you the context. We violated it first. We violated it, and then they said, oh, well, if you're going to violate it, I guess we'll violate it. But that's the way our media is so myopic. It's so fucking annoying. Like, anything we do is by definition legitimate, and we're not going to have a serious discussion about the effects of it. Anything anybody else does is the worst thing in the world, and it's the craziest thing in the world, and it's the dumbest thing in the world, and we're going to, you know, have to retaliate strong. So we get to get away with whatever we want, but if you respond, oh my god, how could you responding? You're not supposed to respond. So sanctions against Iran, North Korea, and Russia, gratuitous, across the board, asinine, and the Democrats and the Republicans are like, yeah, totally, let's do it. We love all that. And now Putin responds, and watch, they're going to use this as further evidence. See, we told you Vladimir Putin's a menace on the world stage. Look, he just expelled 755 U.S. diplomats. Yeah, because you did a fucking 3rd round of sanctions against him. He shut the fuck up and sat there for the first 2 rounds. For the 3rd round, he's like, okay, you know what? Here, diplomats, be gone. So, but they'll not give you the context. They're just going to use this to further escalate. Pump your fucking brakes. Pump your brakes. You know what the Democratic position used to be, right? Hey, negotiation, conversation, let's de-escalate, let's not escalate. Remember, you had Democrats making fun of Mitt Romney in the 2012 debates because Mitt Romney said Russia's our #1 enemy. And Obama said the 1980s called, they want their foreign policy back. But now, the Democrats have gone full McCarthyism. Yes, now Russia's our #1 enemy, and they red bait, and they say, are you influenced by the Kremlin? Are you influenced by Putin? And you do have a lot of Democrats. Joanne Reed of MSNBC still talks about, oh, the Soviet Union. They're not the fucking Soviet Union anymore. Oh my god. So, this is horrible, and this is the real scandal. The issue is not oh my God, Donald Trump is beholden to Vladimir Putin and the Kremlin, and he's going to do their bidding. That's not the real Russia scandal. The real Russia scandal is, what the fuck is going to happen when he decides to prove to you he's not the Kremlin puppet or Vladimir Putin's bitch? Because apparently in the eyes of the Democrats, the only way he can prove it, that he's not his bitch, is to do what? Escalate further, be more hawkish, and prod them even more. So you have Democrats rooting for an escalation with Russia because that's the only way that Trump can show to them, no, I'm not his bitch. Watch here, more sanctions. Watch here, further military escalation. And you're fucking rolling the dice here. Because you're dealing with a genuinely idiotic, low IQ, impulsive buffoon in office, and you're saying, oh my God, he's so insane, he's so crazy, he's so narcissistic, he's so impulsive, he shouldn't be trusted with the red button, and he should escalate with Vladimir Putin to prove to us that he's not Putin's bitch. That's a bad mix, dog. That's a bad mix.